Hey guys, today we are creating TIKI Outpost from blocks roots with clay as a miniature. Not the complete TIKI Outpost, but we start with the arc and the tower.
As you probably know, TIKI Outpost is the final island you can reach in Blocks Fruit's third sea, at least until we get the next update, which is around the corner. And it's so beautiful. It's designed like a mysterious jungle temple fortress, and it has a huge entrance with white and grey stones forming a huge archway, and we are creating all of that with clay. To create some atmosphere, I painted this background pattern from the third sea, and now I'm cutting out the blueprint for today's creation. And one thing is missing, the island within the island right in the middle. But we will focus on the entrance area. And we need tons of grey clay and this sandy ochre for that. And maybe we need even more grey clay for all the stony areas, the rocks which are coming out of the water. And to get an idea of the shape of the different tiny islands, I'm using these thin layers of sandy ochre clay, so we can cut out the contours of these islands and building on top of them with grey clay later on. But let's try to get these beautiful sandy areas as accurate as possible. As accurate as you know them from the game. For me, I'm at level 150 right now, so for me it's impossible to visit this place yet. But I'm working on that in Blocks Roots. I rely 100% on images I'm finding in the internet. And I got some 3D models from Uzov. Big shout out, thanks so much. This helps so much while creating with clay. And finally we are working on the right pile of the entrance area. The arch is made of white and grey stone blocks, and I'm using dolphin grey for that. Later on we will throw in some stormy grey, which is slightly darker. And the island's entrance is beautifully decorated with these purple giant flowers. And it creates just this iconic archway as we know it. And for the first visitors, they get a first taste of what to expect from TIKI Outpost, this ancient mystical vibe as they sail in or fly in. As for the clay, I try to not sculpt too much, but to break chunks out of this grey clay block to create some natural cracks inside it. So it gives it a more natural look than if I would just sculpt it with my tools. I have seen some gameplay and I did some research on TIKI Outpost, and I read that there is real weather on TIKI Outpost, and it's the only island so far that features rain and cloud physics. And that means in-game you can see it rain on the island and clouds moving above. We have also an area where some snow is falling, or at least decorating the rocks, and even these purple flower-like plants. So vegetation, weather is quite unique at this island. Yeah, I'm just covering one of the rocks with the thin layer of green clay to get in some grass. On the right side we have some grassy areas, and the island's terrain is covered with normal green trees, but also dotted with these giant purple flower-like plants. And we even got some huge yellow blossoms that I will also create with clay on a very tiny scale. They look like sunflowers. For now, these are the last rocks we are creating today with some stormy gray, slightly darker. And now we need some mint, aqua mint for ice. It's everywhere on the left side. I mentioned some snow-covered areas, like here on this rock. And on this plateau as well. And there are even some snow-covered trees, which we will also add. Plus these icicles, which are hanging down. And now we are creating these huge yellow blossoms that look like sunflowers. A little bit oversized, but it gives the island a fantasy feeling. Almost like something out of a fairy tale. I thought really hard for a while until I figured out a way to create the trees. So I ended up creating these beautiful brown tree trunks. And then we've got this squarey look for the trees itself. So we've got this white gray tree in the snow-covered area and some green trees on the right side. And we've even got different sizes for them. So this is the smallest one. We will place it right between the sunflowers. And then we try to create those mythical... Yeah, what are they? I have no clue. They look like giant purple flower-like plants. Also coming from a fairy tale. But it's all speculation. And talking about speculation, Bloxfruit's developers have teased that Tiki Outpost might get an underwater expansion. In one of the recent Blox bulletins, this is the game's official news post, as you probably know, they hinted there is an ancient ruin hidden beneath the outpost, deep under the sea. And this sounds so exciting to me. Another bulletin mentioned underwater exploration through the submarine at Tiki Outpost's dock. So this is suggesting we might soon dive into a sunken Tiki Island area. How cool would that be? If one day our Tiki Outpost build needs an underwater edition. And I will totally create this with clay as well. If you are enjoying this video, please let me know. I would be glad to continue this build and make a part 2 just for you guys, working and finishing Tiki Outpost. Alright, let's now focus on the tower, that watchtower that rises just to the left of the stone archway. Its design is super interesting. A skinny stack of white and sandstone columns, and I tried to build it as accurate as possible. We've got those little wooden balconies jutting out on every side and even snow covered. And there is something hanging down, and there are even vines or icicles. I'm leaning icicles because this corner of the island got a snowy overhaul, and the balcony roofs were a neat layer of snow as well. But I could be wrong. If you are convinced they're vines, please let me know in the comments and I can switch them in part 2 of the video, and we put it all into the oven. Freshly baked trees. And we can now assemble them. The clay gets quite hard and solid after oven hardening, which makes it so much easier to super glue the parts together. And I try to get them as accurate as possible. The trees in particular, because they look so neat. even the snow-covered one on the left side. We can now place them onto our island. The snowy one on the left side and the bright green one on the right side. What's missing? The tower itself. I used some paper so that the icicles don't stick to the wall of the tower. And we've got this symbol everywhere, so I painted it. And the balconies are added as well. Ah, that looks so nice. Everyone is standing on top of this golden stairway, and it's such a small scale. I tried to cut out these stairs with my scalpel. And now we are placing the tower on top and the tower on the map. With the scalpel, I am carving and shaping the rocks, smoothing some of the areas which I don't like or which look a little bit too rough. And now it's time to set the scene and place Tiki Outpost in the third sea, our hand-painted third sea with real water. I'm not really sure if it adds some value to this whole creation, but seeing this in real floating water just makes me so happy. I mentioned the real weather, so I wanted to get in some fog and clouds as well. And the sunflowers are sticking out as well as the tower. Oh guys, I hope you enjoyed this part 1. If you would like to see a part 2 of Tiki Outpost, please let me know. Leave it down in the comments. And now it's time for a weather shift. We've got some real stormy weather ahead of us. Whoa! The extension of the island would go right there. And when the rumors are true from the Bloxroot Bulletin, we will very soon get an underwater world for Tiki Outpost. I would love to come up with an idea how to integrate this into my creation. Guys, take good care. Bye!